It definitely was a bad season, but were there any great things to remember last season about?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, this is Chris Sabat, and you're listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
He's 100% healthy. He's not getting sick like me. Rudy, your health regimen has been helping you stay pretty much healthy. I don't think I've ever heard you say, I can't make it because I'm sick, Jeff. Congratulations.
No, my thing is, there's been a couple of times I've been sick. I just channel my inner Jordan flu game, and I just bring it all in. That way, I can make sure I'm a part of Locked On Spurs. But thank you for having me. I understand you're under the weather. I've got the care package, the Campos care package on the way
nice.
to you right
now. I'll take anything right now. It's not bad. I'm not like completely over. It's not like I'm in bed writhing in pain. Just like a small naggy one. I think it'll be cleared up hopefully by the end of today. So make sure to you make sure to follow Rudy on Twitter at Sweep the League. Make sure you do that right now. He'll talk about his show later on this show and why you should be tuning in. So Rudy, we're going to try to do the impossible here. Spurs had a horrible record. It was a horrible season. They were getting curb stomped left and right, blowing double-digit leads, barely mustering up wins, mustering up long losing streaks. But nevertheless, we're going to try to find three highlights, three positives, otherwise from a down season. Now, I know the rule is simple. Rudy, you can't say they tanked. That's just too easy. That's way too easy. But it was their 50th anniversary, so there was a lot of good things, at least heartfelt, heartwarming, just memorable moments. And I think the first one that we both can agree on is it has to be number one on our list, the Alamo Dome game. That's number one, isn't it?
Yeah, back to the Dome, man. It was that has to be number one. Seeing the crowd excited, seeing the players enjoying it, all former players being there, it just brought back a lot of memories. And it's sad because it's like, man, if we only had Hemisphere around still, we would go back to the arena too one day. But that Dome game was something that definitely it'll reside in people's memories for a very long time.
Now, we get it, Rudy. The game itself was horrendous if you're a Spurs fan. I mean, you don't look at the score. Don't look at the score if you were at the game. But what I liked about it, it was just being physically in the Dome. Now, let's make it clear. It was not an exact replica of the Spurs playing in the Dome game back in the day. They did not use the full Dome. They did not have seats, they had them close, but they didn't have them like that standing room only section. That wasn't there. And the missing was the big curtain. They only used half a dome. And you remember back in the day on the empty side of the curtain / dome, remember the fan festivity, the fan festival, where you can go on the dome floor and shoot hoops and play games. Remember that?
Yeah, it's like a bigger version of the Fan Fiesta they have right now, or they had at the AT&T Center. But I do remember that. I remember participating because the Spurs games were getting a little blown out or something. You can just go down there, participate in that stuff, still have a great time. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the only issue I had was the curtain was gone. I missed the blue curtain. I wish it would have been the replica part. But if it was the replica, we wouldn't have had the record broken.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's part of the thing too. The fact that the Spurs did break the record because of the Alamo Dome game. A lot of Spurs fans were coming at me Rudy, because I posted an article against 5.com how the Spurs saw a rise in attendance from season to season. And it's for, well, how can you say that the Spurs were down at the bottom? I go, yeah, for this season, past season they were, but we're just going from season to season. It spiked. And a big reason of that is because of the dome game. I mean, it's 60,000 plus, breaking the record. Also, like that too was the light show. I thought that was really cool to start the game. I thought post game, the fireworks at Hemisphere Park. For those who are not from San Antonio or visited, there's a big park downtown where the tower is that you see on TV, and they had a fireworks display. It felt like just like a big reunion, like San Antonio got together at the Dome. That's what it really felt like.
Yeah, every year we celebrate Fiesta in San Antonio, which actually starts this weekend. So it felt like that. It felt for one night, honestly, it felt like, Spurs fans that are Team Tank and, whatever, all just came together to represent the silver and black. And it was a great night for everybody. There was despite the loss by the Spurs in the court, there was really no losers on that night at all. Everybody was a family. Everybody enjoyed the game. Great atmosphere. I'm just hoping that we can have that same type of feeling every single season, at least just one time.
What I liked about it too, for TV purposes, it was the lone time or the single game that San Antonio was featured on national TV. ESPN carried it. So that was good to know. I mean, the Spurs weren't completely shut out of national games last season. You got Steve Kerr. He got the applause for being part of the Dome experience, but he played at the Dome. It was just such a great thing. You had, wasn't it DiVincenzo saying, what is it about the Dome? Because in his college days, didn't play the NCAA tournament, the Final Four in San Antonio. He went off. So, and then again, San Antonio at the Dome versus the Spurs as a Warrior, he went off again. He has to stop playing in the Dome against the Spurs, Rudy.
Might need to trade for Dante DiVincenzo if he's a Spurs killer like that.
And then relocate the entire team to the Alamo Dome so he can have his games there. But it was such a great night. What do you remember about the night? I'm assuming you were there, right?
Yeah, I was only there for a little bit. I ended up showing up just for a little while. I had some other previous plans that I had to take care of that night, but I did show up. And what the biggest memory for me, and not only were the players being there, past players there, but it was that show, the light show at the beginning. You saw all the white lights, the phones and everything. I mean, it's just something about that. You see that in other arenas, like Penn State football has that whiteout, and they've got the same type of thing. And just seeing that, it just brings like the entire community together. And I'm like, man, I want to see more of that. There's a lot more stuff I want to see at Spurs home games that I don't see, that I think would really benefit, for the San Antonio Spurs moving forward.
Yeah, the Dome game actually was the must-go-to game of the season once it was announced. I think this should be a regular thing now. Maybe not the full capacity.
Yeah,
maybe
not the full capacity.
Yeah, maybe give. I mean, if you want to, Spurs to make some money, open it up. But as far as just having a Dome game, maybe actually give the fans the Dome experience back in the '90s with the curtain and the separation and the way it used to be. Just for one, I mean, my goodness, they go on the rodeo road trip for how long? And there's like big gaps in days off. You can have one of the rodeo road trip games in the Alamo Dome, but that absolutely was the number one moment of the 22-23 50th anniversary season. When we get back, we're going to continue our top three. We got two more about some of the best things that came out of last season, despite the really, really bad record. We're here with Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Follow him on Twitter at Sweep the League. Make sure you do that right now. Hey, I want to talk to you about the Nissan Ariya. Look, Nissan's most electric player of the week right here on Locked On Spurs is brought to you by the all-new, all-electric 2023 Nissan Ariya. I know the season's over, the Spurs are not in the playoffs, but if I have to identify a player just in general, I have to give it a Sohan. I think Spurs fans are looking forward to season 2 from him. He had leaps and bounds in his development as the season went on. He's probably going to add some size, add more dimensions to his game. I think he has a bright future with San Antonio. I think he actually is going to be a huge piece in this Spurs rebuild. So he is the 2023 Nissan Ariya, Nissan's most electric player of the week, right here on Locked On Spurs. Hey, it's electric. It's brilliantly fierce. It's fiercely elegant, stunningly powerful, elegantly powerful. It delivers on duality, a combination of fierceness and elegance, beautiful and strong. It's the perfect SUV crossover. The 2023 Nissan Ariya packs pin to your seat power and premium intelligence all in one EV. The all-new, all-electric 2023 Nissan Ariya, the EV for people who love to drive. Shop now at nissanusa.com. We're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Rudy Campos. Follow him on Twitter at Sweep the League. He covers all things sports, not just Spurs, including Missions Baseball. It's a minor league team in San Antonio. He'll talk about that shortly. So we're trying our best, Rudy, to pick out 3 big highlights of last season. We got the obvious one, which is the Alamo Dome game, but I'll let you start this one off. What's number 2 on our list?
So number 2, and I'm gonna say actually this will probably be number 3 on our list because yours is perfect for number 2, but we're gonna go we're 3 on mine here, and it's gonna be the rookies this year, the improvement of the rookies right before our eyes, because for the first time in a while, I mean for the first time I think ever, we've had 3 first-round picks in Blake Wesley, Malachi Branham, and Jeremy Sohan come in, and out of those 3 guys, 2 of them saw significant minutes as the season went on, and Branham and Sohan. We saw Jeremy Sohan had a really rough start to the season, drastically improved throughout the season to show that, he is going to be a focal point for the Spurs moving forward. Malachi Branham showed reasons why, and a lot of reasons why. He was supposed to be a lottery pick in this draft, but he fell to the Spurs. So he had games where he was scoring bunches, and he had multiple good games, on the scoring side. He can shoot the ball, and it just shows, okay, this draft class for the San Antonio Spurs was definitely a really, really good one of the better ones they've had overall when it comes to drafting in that first round. But we can't forget Blake Wesley. No shots at West. He had some injuries that he had to deal with. But when he was able to play, he did show some spark in there. He's got a lot of improvements to make, but I think that next step's going to be good for him. But just this rookie class alone, Jeff, should give Spurs fans that, that warm feeling like, okay, we had a very, very good rookie draft class. Branham, Wesley, and Sohan are on the right path for the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, and, I'll throw in other just newbies, if you will. Mamu, I think he was also impressive. Like late acquisition. Barlow still showing that he's raw, but there's something there. But as far as focusing on the rookies, absolutely. I think we all know what Sohan is doing and will continue doing moving forward. I want to talk to you about Blake Wesley, though. Will you be surprised if he's spending more time in Austin next season?
No, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Blake he's got a lot to work on and a lot to improve on. And it's not saying that he won't ever make the Spurs roster, but he will eventually be, a very focal, very important piece to the San Antonio Spurs. But I think he spends the majority of the time in Austin next year. He's got a lot to develop. He's trying to play a position that's super hard in the NBA, and that's point guard. So I get it. He's got quickness. He's got speed. He can get to the basket and everything, but he's got a lot to improve. He's got to improve that jump shot. He's got to improve his control more than anything. And that's something that he'll be able to do in Austin. So I would say probably like 70%, 60% of the time he's going to be in Austin.
Yeah, and I think things will change for him too, especially if the Spurs do draft a guard like Scoot. I think that might be an issue there. But nevertheless, as far as just their development, I agree with you. My opinion, I think this has been one of the better draft classes for the Spurs of late. The Primo thing, well, we know what happened there. That's kind of a wash right there. But yeah, you look at Malachi, it's almost like his summer league reflected his NBA start. Summer league, slow start, got going towards the end of summer league. NBA season, slow start, got going late in the season. He had multiple double-figure scoring nights, played decent defense. I think that's something he needs to improve upon. And he could score almost on any level. At the rim, forget about it. Yeah, mid-range, he's got that down. 3-shot, good, can improve though. Getting free throws, perfect. So I think he can score on all levels. And Sohan, what can you say? What more can you say? I think that's what not already been said about him. He's just only going to get better, and that should put the league on notice. And he made the NBA Rising Stars team this past All-Star break. That's a huge nod to him. I think he's only going to get better. I wouldn't be surprised next season if they make perhaps call more plays for him on the offensive end, because I think that's been the most surprising thing about him. Coming out of Baylor, he was just seen as a defensive kind of guy. Didn't really get the touches. But lo and behold, now he gets the touches and he's got a chance to shine, and he's showing he could do it on both ends of the court. He's definitely proven to himself to be a deadly two-way player for the Spurs and for the rest of the NBA as his career moves forward. So far, so good, Rudy. We got 2 things down that was positive out of a bad season. I know Spurs fans are going to say, well, you missed this, well, you missed that. Hopefully they do, because we would love to add more great things about last season in an otherwise bad season. What's that, Rudy?
What was that? Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were going to say something. But, hey, we're not done. Oh, go ahead.
No, I wasn't going to say anything. I was just going to say, the one thing I did was going to say was the fact that, there's a lot of great memories from this first season. Even though it was a rough one, there's a lot of great memories. A lot of them happened off the court. But nonetheless, there's always positives in a negative season.
Yeah, exactly. And even when the Spurs were winning titles, there was always negatives too. But nevertheless, Spurs fans are still trying to recover from the rebuild season, the tank season. I don't know if they could do it again. I know I probably can, if especially if they don't, if the Spurs, that is, don't win the lottery and worst case scenario fall to 7. Imagine how horrible that would be. But nevertheless, trade down. Yeah, maybe that. Hey, when we get back, we're gonna wrap up our top 3 moments from last season on Locked On Spurs with Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Again, thanks for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. You guys are the everydayers. We'll be back on Monday with a new show, including perhaps a fan episode sometime next week, right here on Locked On Spurs. But I want to talk to you about eBay Motors. Look, eBay Motors. Look, if you want to be a part of a championship team, well, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs just the right fit. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure every part you need fits right just the first time around. Add your ride to My Garage and look for the green check to know if the part will fit or your money back. Just because, like in sports, confidence is the name of the game. When you shop on eBay Motors, and with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. And how can I not forget about our newest advertiser here on Locked On Spurs? It is Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee. It's my favorite spot in San Antonio to get myself a coffee or any other type of drink, and it should be yours as well. It's a locally owned independent coffee shop. They're proud to make delicious coffee for our community. They do it fast and friendly so you get on with your day. Whether you're in the mood for a latte, cold brew, or a Red Bull-infused lightning bolt. Hey, Rudy, I had that recently. That thing is strong. That thing will wake you up in seconds. I highly recommend you add the strawberry flavor, though.
I have not had that one yet.
I don't think you're ready for it.
Oh, man. I'm gonna have to hit it up and get it.
I'm warning you now. Look, it's delicious. It's really delicious. It's just super strong. So brace yourself, Rudy, when you go and get one. Look, they have drinks for every taste. They also have a wide selection of dairy alternatives, low-calorie options, even caffeine-free drinks for those who just want to take it easy. Go to Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee for a tasty and convenient caffeine fix. Located at 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive near 281 and 1604. Open every day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Life is too short for bland coffee. I think you're like the guy from Unbreakable. Remember how he never had a sick day? He never got sick. When he checked in with his boss just to query if he ever had taken a sick day, they're like, no, you never have. That's you, Rudy. That's you.
What can I say? I'm the Cal Ripken of Locked On podcast with you, man. My streak is unbeatable.
All right. Let's go and wrap this up. Our number 3 pick. Well, no particular order. I think you mentioned that in the second segment. But it's got to be the news that Popovich, Hammond, Gasol, and Tony Parker made it to the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. I get the dome game, but this was the best news coming out of last season, wasn't it, Rudy?
It was definitely a really bright spot in a very long season for the San Antonio Spurs to see Pop, Becky, Tony, and Pau Gasol all go into the Hall of Fame. I mean, if you go looking back at Hall of Fame classes, there's been some really good ones, and this one definitely, it's definitely really, really, really good. And it's not so good on I guess on a career level is what I'm trying to say, but on a personal level. For San Antonio, it's massive. This is the best draft class for the San Antonio Spurs and San Antonio in general, just by far. So, congrats to all that made the Hall of Fame. I'm going to be tuned in for sure because I want to see all these people going in.
And others why people should be tuning in because this might be it for San Antonio for a long, long, long time. I don't see.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe kind of like those loose connections. Let's just say LaMarcus Aldridge makes it. He'll likely get in, but not as a Spur, but as a Blazer. So, but as far as just, I think he has look. Tim Hardaway made it a couple years ago. Yeah. I think LMA should be able to make it. Now Hardaway has a ring to his name, but I think he's on the cusp. So I think he'll be on the ballot. Let's put it that way. He might be on the ballot. His college career was pretty good too.
Yeah, okay, his college career, but do they allow executives in? Because wouldn't RC be eligible?
That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, because what's his name? Reinsdorf is in there. Is it Reinsdorf?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Well, maybe RC is next. Okay, well, good then. If that's true, then we got one more. But as far as just in future ones, like long term, no, this is probably it. Like I said, there'll be those loose connections, like Steve Kerr. When he gets in, he'll likely get in as a Warriors head coach, and he'll be connected to the Bulls. And I think the Spurs would be there as well, but not up the list. So you'll probably get those loose connections. But as far as a true Spur like Robinson, Duncan, Pop, Gervin, I think it's going to be a long, 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 long time for another, Spurs-centric kind of Hall of Fame. But you're right. This was perhaps one of the biggest news coming out of last season. All four deserve it. It's kind of like Pau Gasol. Yes, technically he was a Spur, but he'll likely get in as a Laker. Like that, I think that's probably going to happen because that's where he won his most titles with. So, but Parker, he deserves it. Becky finally got in. I mean, Rudy, how many times was she nominated before finally getting the nod? Like for so many times. She could have been in there a long time ago, but she kept on getting overlooked. Should have been.
Yeah, she should have been.
But, Popovich finally gets in. It makes me wonder, Rudy, if this is going to be his mic drop. I mean, what better way to drop the mic and then say, it's been real NBA basketball? I mean, can you imagine that going out like that? Like that, Rudy?
I couldn't really see a better end to a career than just say, hey, you know what? I'm in the Hall of Fame now. This is kind of, my ride-off into the sunset type thing. So honestly, I don't mind if Pop came back. I know there's a lot of debate on that. But if he didn't, by all means, man, this is the best way to end a career. A year later, getting you got the most wins in NBA history from previous season and then going into the Hall of Fame this year. I think, in my opinion, it probably is that mic drop moment for Pop. So we shall see, man. We shall see. The offseason hasn't even started yet, so it's going to be around the corner, though.
Yeah, I don't think he'll retire. I think maybe one more year at most, depending on how they do in the draft. Perhaps that just rejuvenates him. I mean, for his age, he looks pretty young still pretty spry. So, I think that has to be one of the best, or the best moment of last See, then there were others as well. It was the 50th anniversary. I think one of the bright spot was seeing the old timers come in, former Spurs come back and say hello to the fans. The Jaren Jackson and then the Jaren Jackson Jr. moment at the Dome was so touching when he and his son embraced, and then they literally exchanged jerseys. Like the father gave his son his Spurs number 2 jersey. So that was a really good moment. And again, just seeing the Spurs celebrate 50 years in San Antonio, it was good to see. And from the bobbleheads that everybody was going crazy for, to all the special nights, it was a really good season. Yes, season record wise, it sucked, the product on the court, but there were some great moments last season. Rudy, I need you to brag about Sweep the League. What's going on?
So we've kind of cut back on the podcasting a little bit, but we're actually starting to distribute more content via our Substack. So be sure to subscribe to Sweep the League Substack. Articles are coming out. We're going to do more developed content on there. Talking MLB, Missions Baseball, we're covering them a lot more this season. So NFL draft coverage coming up. NBA draft coverage is going to be popping up a lot too. So just a lot of stuff going on right now, and always interact with us there. Like Jeff says, you can find me on Twitter at Sweep the League.
Yeah, make sure to do that right now. Find out his secret. How does he stay in peak health? Because I need it right now. Because I'm doing my best right now to keep it composed, Rudy. I'm hopped up on medicine.
I drink a lot of mudslingers, so that's
there you go. Good one. Hey, thanks for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Again, you guys are the everydayers. You come here every day, and we appreciate that. Subscribe to Locked On Spurs wherever you get your favorite podcasts: Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes, the Kins 5 Plus app, and so many other platforms. So for Rudy Campos, I am Jeff Garcia. We're putting a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.